Alina Habba continues in this update on the ongoing lawfare that Trump is trying to put down, Alina Habba is trying to put down, and many of them have already gone away. The big ones under Jack Smith have already gone away. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This represents a major victory for Trump that he won, continues to win, and it's all pointing to all of these cases go away. There's still the Letitia James fine that has to go away. Here's Fox News on it.
Well, the Democrats' lawfare attacks on President Trump are all falling apart.
We've been reporting on both how they built up. We went and did videos on each one that came into being, and now we've been documenting them all as they're being dismantled and going away. What's more important to me was as they were being built, what was happening inside of political culture? Why did the Democrats think they could get away with this? Simply because they were winning. And then when they lost, suddenly all of these instantly crumbled. That is, they were only held up by Democrat political demand. And then as soon as that demand went away, because it should stick if it was clearly about law, about justice is blind, fairness law, they would have stayed. But because they were political, when the political power got drained out of them, they could not stand.
Unfortunately, and fortunately for us, she didn't really hold water with that $475 million. It was immediately decreased to under $200 million by the appellate division.
So that one was already, that's the $400 million, $400-something million that Trump owed. They already cut that one down to below 200 million. I believe it's about 190 million that Trump owes. They're trying to make that whole thing go away just to keep them from being embarrassed by it.
This case was past the statute of limitations. This case was brought by a Section 6312, a law that should not apply to private citizens doing business where no one was harmed. And I do believe that the appellate division heard our arguments very clearly. As you know, they reprimanded the Attorney General's side for bringing this case, for using this law this way, because it would open Pandora's box, per se, and it would basically tell people don't come do business in New York, which is what we're seeing happening.
So people are already bailing on New York from business. We've already quoted Kevin O'Leary on this that just said he would never touch New York in its current state. And so just imagine that. He's a very vocal voice, but imagine what a small business would do. If you could start in New York or you could start in Florida, which one do you pick? You do not start in Florida because you can end up in jail if you have the wrong political ideology under those judges and under that crooked DA.
We're waiting on that decision. But more importantly, yes, yesterday we did plead with Letitia for nothing more than a little bit of humility and a little bit of American sense.
They're counting on Letitia having humility and American sense. You guys can tell me in the chat below, what do you think her response would be if they appeal to her humility and her American sense?
To drop this case, just like Jack Smith did the day prior, on two suits, the raid in Florida, as well as the January 6th case in Washington, for the good of America.
Now, she's appealing to Letitia James for the good of America. Again, in the chat below, you can tell me, do you think Letitia James would do something for the good of America?
We've seen this over and over again over the last 3.5 years, and I think it damaged the country. And I think that's a big part of, frankly, why we won. America wants to see that the DOJ, the AGs, the DAs, they're going to be on our side, and they're going to stop this lawfare and these witch hunts if you're on the other side of politics. And
this actually ties into the last video on Melania Trump, where they were debanking her. Well, this is another one where your average citizen, how does he feel going before a court judge? Is he going to get a fair shake in Manhattan? If he's a conservative, Republican, or a Christian? Hell no. So they have to start changing the way they act, or they're going to force someone to have to impeach them, prosecute them, remove them.
DA Bragg gave their recommendation, which was to navigate this after the presidency, after 2020, after he's done being president, which is insane to me. Instead of just saying, drop this case. It was past the statute of limitations, just like Letitia's case. It was passed up by Cy Vance. It was passed up by Bragg, and then it was brought when he ran.
So Trump's no longer running, so now they can put their case away. Alvin Bragg is trying to hold on to it and say, well, wait till Trump gets out of office office and then pick this thing back up because they'll no longer have that kind of immunity. Even though it passed the statute of limitations for them to bring it back up, they invented new laws to be able to run this case. And then Founding Willis has also talked about still pushing her case, and there's pressure on her to drop it too. Look for, long before Alvin Bragg and Founding Willis dropped their case, look for Letitia James to drop her case, not because she's reasonable, but because her case is the most ridiculous. $290 million fine as it stands. And everyone agrees there was no crime there. She's going to have to make that one go away. That's my prediction in the next couple days. I'm Doug in exile.